Welcome back to Grit Gym. Today we're going to go, we do this every day. We do this show every day at 12:30, okay? So 12:30 every day, tune in. We talk about your health, your exercise, mindset, nutrition, and whatever else. Anything that I can do to help you guys get going in your fitness journey, in your exercise journey, and in the way that you want to live your life. I think that's like everything about this show is based on that one thing. Breaking out of your own personal status quo. Your status quo that keeps you where you are. That's the big thing in this show. Apparently I forgot to breathe there in the first few seconds. But anyway, that's the big thing in the show. I really want to, it's less me trying to inspire you to experience your life the way you want to live it, and more me trying to get you to inspire your own life, okay? To inspire your own way, to take responsibility for everything that is yours. You guys saw our victim post earlier today. There's so much stuff. You scroll through your feed and notice how many people are getting angry or sending aggressive messages, even if people that are hating on hate groups. Even it just really surprises me. And people take things so personal, and they put themselves in the victim category. No one else is putting them there. No one else is saying that they had to go there. You can look at it objectively, but they put themselves in the victim category. Why do you do this? Because status quo says you're a victim. If somebody says something mean to you, if somebody, I can't tell you how many times I've been in situations where somebody got mad at me for, I was just standing there, and they got mad at me. I can't tell you how many times I've met somebody, and they'll go, I don't want to know him. And that's not me being a victim. I don't care if they don't want to know me, whatever. They put themselves in the victim category before I even opened my mouth. It's so odd. It's not odd, it's normal. It's extremely normal. But anyway, this is about breaking out of that status quo. Breaking out of that status quo so you can live your experience the way you want to live it. But today we're going to talk about how do you pick a personal trainer, how do you pick a coach, how do you do this? Because there are a few things that elite coaches do, that all elite coaches do. Every one of us that is just I don't know if we ever really become masters, comparatively masters. I mean, a master is kind of a big word, but at the same time, there are the tops. There are the people who are really, really good at what they do. How do you pick these people out? How do you find them? Because sometimes you get in front of a really good salesman, and he's gonna suck you in, or she's gonna suck you in, and they're gonna manipulate you. And 6 months in, they're not calling you back, and they hope that you don't show up. That is not a gym that you want to go to. That's not a personal trainer that you want to go to. That's not a strength coach that you want to have, right? That's not any kind of person that you want in your life, the person that doesn't want to help you out. So how do you pick one? This is a daunting task. I mean, there's micro gyms popping up all over the place. And I really think this is the way to go. You want to get into a micro gym. You don't want to be in these big box gyms. They just suck. They're like a breeding ground for really bad personal trainers. For one, I only know one guy. I know one guy that is almost worth his salt in the kind of personal training field is where he is. I put myself more on the strength coaching side, and I think he's okay. I think he does a decent job, but he's the only one. And I know a lot of personal trainers that work at big box gyms. So you have to be really selective, because this is your body. This is your health. This is not something that you want to just throw to the wind and maybe, I'll try this person out, or I'll try this person out, I'll try this person out. You have to make sure that you're going to someone that is going to make your program appropriate for you. Someone that is going to make sure that you're safe throughout your workout. Somebody that can change your workout in the blink of an eye based on how you walked in that day. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your workouts are going to change from day to day. You walk in with 2 weeks of really good rest, 2 weeks of really good nutrition, and you're coming off of an appropriate deload week, you're ready to go. That's going to be a completely different workout than if we just got off of a heavy cycle and you went on a bender the night before and haven't slept in who knows how many hours, and you're kind of wondering if you're still drunk. Those are going to be two very different workouts when you show up that day, but they're still based on the same program. So how is the strength coach going to do this for you? You have to know this stuff, because you try to put the person who's might still be drunk through the really hard workout, it's not going to happen. It's not going to go well. It's going to be bad. So what do all elite coaches do that you can know about so that you can pick a good strength coach, so that you can pick a good strength coach? You don't want just a Joe Schmo on this, okay? So there's a few things that can weed out bad strength coaches, And there's a few things that all really elite coaches do. And I'm going to start with the positive. So I'm going to start with the good stuff, and then I'll go to the bad stuff. But all elite coaches, every one of them, every elite coach in the world does some sort of assessment. There is not a coach out there that doesn't have some kind of system set up to get you into an assessment so he can figure out, or she can figure out, where you are right now. You have to, like, a strength coach has to know this. You cannot just, as a strength coach, I can't just make programs out for people and just hope it works. I get people, that would get people hurt. They get people injured. That's the opposite of health. That is not health. Health is not the absence of illness and injury. It's the vibrancy, right? So think of how far away it takes us from that vibrancy to gain an injury, and a super stupid injury. Just such a dumb industry. Did I say industry? Such a dumb injury. It's a dumb way to get an injury, to train inappropriately. If there's one spot of, like, one of the things in life that we can have a decent amount of control of, it's our exercise. There is something to, I shouldn't say dumb. It's either uneducated, okay, which is still kind of stupid considering that you have internet and a phone and probably a computer, and you have all this information at your fingertips anytime you want it, so you should be educated. But also, if you're uneducated, if a person is uneducated, they probably shouldn't be training in the first place. But most of the people that are personal trainers are pretty uneducated. So, but there are personal trainers that also continue to do, even though they do learn, they still continue to do the thing that gets people hurt. It blows my mind. There's a guy across town that does this. He convinced a little girl, not a little girl, she was a senior in high school who had a scholarship to play volleyball, convinced her to take her boot off of her broken foot to train that summer. Now, do I think that she should be training? Yes, but not on that leg, not on that leg where she had a broken foot. She should be doing upper body and stuff and the uninjured leg and core work, but she shouldn't be doing work on that leg. And he was convincing her to do that just so that, I don't even know why. I'm going to take a wild guesses so that he can make a couple extra bucks, but that's a scumbag right there. So anybody who doesn't do some sort of an assessment is a scumbag. You're just that's just a scumbag personal trainer trying to run you through the mill, trying to make a buck. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of places that do that. This isn't a rare thing. But elite coaches, every elite coach in the world does some sort of assessment. Does some sort of assessment to figure out where you are right now and where you want to go. Because how in the world could you possibly make a plan to get there? How could you make a plan if you don't know where you're going? How could you make a plan if you don't know where you are? You know, we're in Iowa City right now. If I go to New York, I know the beginning and the end. I can make the plan for how to get there. But if I don't know where I'm going, like if I try to go to New York, but really the destination was Nevada, well, I really messed up, didn't I? Same thing if I'm in Nevada, or if I don't know where I am and I'm trying to go to New York, how am I going to get there? I have no idea. Maybe I end up in Nevada. But so every elite coach does some kind of assessment. You have to do an assessment. Every elite coach also takes some sort of detailed statistics. They have some sort of system for detailed statistics. And this is one where I think if there is one of these in this list that clients have a little bit more, power over or say in, I think it's this one. Because, like, what kind of statistics do you want to use in your program? I mean, if you want to go by the scale, I think it's a poor choice. However, if you want to go by the scale, if that's what you think really hammers you down, I'm not going to stop you, but we're going to do that with a pinch test, okay? We got to do both. If you want to go by how your clothes fit, I think that's a great one. But that also means we got to be buying smaller and smaller and smaller clothes if we're trying to go for fat loss. So some type of detailed statistics, some type of way of taking statistics. We use, for instance, a lot of personal trainers, they just make up a program on the spot. They're like, oh, I think we'll do this now, and then we'll do this now, and we'll do this now. And they kind of write it in a notebook as their statistics. That's not a detailed way to take statistics. That's a stupid way to take statistics. What we have is we have a program that everybody gets, whether they're in the group, like kind of more group workout setting that's still individualized, because that's the system that we use, which is the best in the world. Not kidding you, not shitting you. It is the best system in the world. And I didn't come up with that. I stole it. So, and then the other one is if you're in SemiPrivate, which is just personal training, you would have a system to write down what your weights are, and you get a prescription of the weight that you should use, but you also get a coach while you're doing each workout, while you're doing each exercise, to help you along to figure out what should your exercise, what should you be using for this day. Because if you come in hungover, we're not going to hit the weight on the sheet. You got to go probably at least 30% or 20 to 30% lower than the number on your sheet. So you have to have, so great coaches have some kind of way to gauge this, but great coaches also take detailed statistics along the way. And the interesting thing is, I've never thrown a program away from great, maybe. Shouldn't say never. But I have basically every program that's ever been written at Grit Gym since the day one. We still have it. We have it slugged away. We have it stored. So anybody who's still with us, which we have a lot of people that are still at Grit Gym from day one, actually pre-Grit Gym, that have been with me, and I have their charts. I know their numbers from the first day that they worked out with me. Okay, we can see progress. You know, Joanns that just shared this out. It looks like, because you're awesome. She just hit 245, I don't know for how many reps, on her deadlift the other day. She did not, I guarantee you she didn't start at 245, but I can go back and pull up, I can go back and pull up her programs from however long ago when she started, from her first day, and be like, okay, well that's how much weight she started with. And now we can measure some progress, right? So they take detailed statistics. Great coaches take detailed statistics. They chart progress, they have programs, and they take statistics on the assessment also. Okay, great coaches are lifelong learners. This is one of the biggest ones that I see that other coaches do not do. They get stuck into studying only one thing, and they don't even do that very well. They like read a book on audio. Like, I'm okay with listening to books, but at the same time, like, it shouldn't be the bulk. Like, at some point, you got to put words in front of your face. And you got to look at diagrams. You can't just mindlessly walk around listening to something and think it's going to create you into that author. So lifelong learners. I think there's two things that I think people miss out on in the learning category. I think they're not very courageous and they're not curious. Two things that you were told not to be. You were told to be scared of strangers. Why would you be scared of strangers? You were told to be careful. Be careful. Why would you be careful? I want you to be dangerous. Okay, you were told, you were taught, you were given the example of worrying. Your parents worried when you were going to come home. They gave you a curfew. I'm worried. I was worried about you. I was worried sick about you. You've had this, that's bullshit. Like, why would you worry? Like, I don't have kids, so I don't really know. And apparently that just, expands when you have kids. But the worry thing, but worrying is just a fear of not being enough. I mean, like, what are you really going to do about it? You sitting there worrying is just ruining your experience. But you were taught how to worry. You were taught how to not be courageous in your life. You were taught to try to be like everybody else. You were taught not to extend past everybody else. You were not taught to slam your competition. You were not taught to cooperate with other people. You weren't taught the difference between competition and cooperation, which we'll get into in other talks. But lifelong learners. You were not taught to study and study and study. You were taught that when school was over, you knew enough to get along with life. Well, let me click this off real quick. Life doesn't teach you enough. Well, maybe enough. School doesn't teach you the things that you needed to move on in life. For instance, there's nothing in school about money, there's nothing in school about relationships, and there's nothing in school about time. There's barely anything in the health category. Those are your four great resources: health, wealth, relationships, time. You got to take care of those. That's part of the reason. This is, by the way, guys, this is what a book looks like before you actually write it, get it done. It's full of red ink and blue ink and green ink with little notes all over it. But nobody teaches you how to be courageous, and everybody teaches you that being curious is bad. I personally and I would not be a bit surprised if there's ever a test that came out that actually got you to give you a range on how curious you were. I would not be a bit surprised to find out that I am the most curious person on the face of the earth. Okay? And that's not like a bragging thing. I just think I'm just an outrageously curious person. I think about the existence of life all the time. I remember when I used to just sit there and just think like hours and hours and hours, like, why are we here? Like, what's going on? Like, someday everything's going to burn up. Someday everything's going to be gone. The earth is going to get swallowed by the sun. We're going to go on off at it. What are we actually doing here? And the day when I came up with the idea that this is about the experience, You only get right here, right now. Over and over again, we have moment after moment after moment. You know, what kind of purpose do you want to have with the experience that you do have right here, right now? This isn't theology. This is just expanding your mind into a new way of thinking. Everything is about the experience that you are living. And my purpose in this life is to help others experience their life the way they want to live it. I think it's the utmost of the biggest calling that you could possibly ask anybody in the universe. But that's just me. So I have to continue my learning. I have to continue to gain new perspectives, to give myself new perspectives, but also to be able to be there for other people that are going through things that I used to go through. Because a lot of people are dealing with stuff that isn't very fun, like worrying, right? Being a lifelong learner takes a ton of courage, and it takes a ton of curiosity, and it takes a ton of courage just to be curious. Okay, that was a lot of C's. So alliteration aside, it is extremely important to take the courageous challenge to continually learn every day. And at some point, the mysticism kind of wears off and you get tired of learning. That's why you go to events. You guys don't know it, but I dropped $5,000 just on the event to go to, which is more than I have, but to go to the event this past weekend, because I needed to expand my thinking. I need to get around bigger people, not bigger people, but bigger thinking people, so that we could get together, we could mastermind, and we could expand out so that I could be better for you. So I could be the best version of me for me, but also then that makes me better able to better serve you. Okay, so like lifelong learners, other coaches who are not lifelong learners, like they're not a coach that you want. Elite coaches are always lifelong learners. They practice, number 4, which is taking me a while to get to, but they practice what they preach. I just think that this is just a one that just blows my mind. I can't tell you how often I'll go to seminars and stuff like that, and I'll see a guy or a girl or whoever, a nutritionist, get up and talk about how bad grain is, and how bad grain is. And then afterwards, we all, everybody kind of, usually there's some kind of like get together afterwards. And you see that, that same speaker pounding beer after beer after beer while drinking bread. Well, sorry for you, dude, but that beer was made from grain, and that bread was made from grain. It's just a hypocrisy, okay? If elite coaches practice what they preach, they get their butt into the weight room, they challenge their own mindset. This goes back to the courage thing. If your coach hasn't gone through some kind of challenge in their life, they have no business telling you how to do what you are trying to do. Because if you're trying to lose 50 pounds, that doesn't take X's and O's and strategies. Those help. Those are for me. Those are for me to help you out with. That's not for you to come up with. What your responsibility is courage. It's courage. Tons and tons of fucking courage. Okay? You want to change your life? It takes mountains of courage. And you want to get around other people that have that kind of courage, that have changed aspects of their life in massive ways, because that gives you more power. Okay? You expand your power by being around them, and they expand their power by being able to be that for you. That's why I want you in Grit Gym, okay? Okay, I want the most courageous, most curious, most awesome people on the face of the planet to come into Grit Gym so that I can blow up, so that you can blow up, not fat-wise, but strength-wise, and mindset-wise, and power-wise, and joy, and love, and all that stuff, all that good stuff, you know what I mean? And really expand that out so that we can become better for knowing each other. That's why I want people to come into Grit Gym. But anyway, elite coaches practice what they preach. Elite coaches celebrate behavior, not outcomes. Okay, I like outcomes. Like, outcomes are fun. I really do. I enjoy outcomes, but I don't think that they should be the reward or the celebration. Okay, for instance, let's say, because this happens pretty regularly, because it's hard. Like, at first, you just don't see a lot of success. You don't see a lot of success. You might not see any success. You might not see the scale drop. You might not see your clothes change. You might not feel your muscles coming in for over 6 months. But if you made it to the gym 5 days per week consistently over the course of those 6 months, should you celebrate? Should you get a reward? Should you reward yourself? Should you feel good about yourself? Hell yes, you should. You should not sit there and shame yourself because I didn't make any progress. I guarantee you, if you come for 6 months, 5 days a week, you're going to make progress. That's a silly example. But let's say, worst case scenario, you didn't, something went wrong. You haven't taken charge of your nutrition yet, so you just keep getting stronger. Your muscles are being affected, but you're not changing your nutrition, so you're not seeing any fat loss happen. Okay, so let's say that's happening and you go 6 months. Hey, you created a behavioral change. You did something that you were scared of. You walked into a place where you didn't know the theme of the party and you didn't know anybody there, and you were scared to death to do it because you thought you were going to get judged just for walking in the door. That took a ton of courage. That took a ton of courage. And I admire that on a deep, deep level. I find so much admiration for the people that walk into Grit Gym, because they had to have tons and tons of courage to be able to do that. Just to be able to even write that first email, make that first phone call. It's amazing. It's amazing that people are able to do that. And I'm so grateful that I've gotten to be a part of that over and over again. And that you having that amount of courage gives me more courage. Okay? It makes me level up. Okay? So you want to celebrate your behavior, not necessarily the outcome. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, Joanne lifted 245. How many times did it say? How many times did it say? I thought about that. I thought about how excited I was to reach 135, then 175. Never imagined I'd break. Yeah, Joanne broke. Like, I remember when Joanne walked in and she said, I have a goal to deadlift 175. And then, like, I don't know, like 10 months later, 10 weeks later, she hit like 175 for like 6 reps or something crazy like that. And then 10 weeks after that, she was doing it for her speed pulls, which are like, you just drop down a percentage and you work on speed for kind of like a timed interval thing. She was doing it no problem. It's a pretty amazing thing. Pretty amazing thing. But even then, so she lifted 245. Thanks, Joanne. So she lifted 245 4 times. That comes out, that might be like a 275 total. I don't know. I need to look it up, but that might be like a calculated 275 total. Like, that's still exciting. We should still celebrate that. But Joanne's comes all the time. She comes on a regular basis, every day. That's the meat. That's why she was able to do 245 4 times. Okay. Well, that's part of it. That's a big part of it, because she had the guts to do it. Dude, I was so nervous for the first couple of months. For the first couple months, yeah. I'm glad. I hope you're not now, Aaron. But yeah, people they get so nervous right at the beginning, and it's okay. I get people. I used to do a resting heart rate when people would walk in the door, and I knew it wasn't accurate because they'd already been up and moving around, right? So it shouldn't be their actual resting heart rate. But I just kept on getting 88, 75. Yeah, you know, like these really high numbers. And finally, I was like, this is stupid. Everybody's walking in. They're so nervous. They're so nervous when they walk in. I'm not ever going to get a good resting heart rate. So I stopped doing it. But what else do elite coaches do? They know how to help. This is the one that I was going to get into after. They know how to help. Okay, Joanne might not have known. She didn't think it was possible to hit 245 for 4 reps. But she probably, if she was doing this on her own, she wouldn't know how to get there. Okay, there's a process to this whole thing. There's a reason. There's step by step by step by step to get to 245 for 4 sets, for 4 repetitions. Okay, there's a process. If she would have just come in day 1 and tried to lift 245, she'd break. I mean mentally break. I mean her body would break. Your body is going to stop you before you do something stupid. So hopefully it wouldn't break, but as a strength coach, elite level strength coaches know how to help. They know the exercises. They know what to move you to if that's the inappropriate exercise. They know how to program, which that's such a rare deal. They know that you shouldn't be doing max out sets or reps to fatigue or sets to fatigue or muscle confusion. Muscle confusion is the stupidest thing. I swear muscle confusion was just made by pathetic, uneducated personal trainers that didn't want to make up a program, so they just threw random shit at the wall. But they know how to help. Okay, so number 7, they never give up on a client. Elite coaches never get up on a client. I still call old clients all the time that moved away, or or I'll email them, text them, whatever. I'm still in contact with them. I still am in contact with people who have quit who have quit at Grit Gym, or they've quit on themselves, or because I believe in them and I think that they can. I'm never going to quit on them. I'm never going to quit on them. I'm going to keep calling. Maybe it's once a year, maybe it's once a month, maybe it's once every single day, but I'm going to keep contacting them. And every once in a while, one of them will be like, dude, like, when are you going to give up? And I'm like, I'm never going to give up. I'm never going to give up on you. Like, I care too much to let you give up on you. Why would I give up on you? Okay, so an elite level coach never gives up. Never gives up. Never truly gives up. They might stop calling you for 6 months and then call you back up again and be like, hey, you ready to roll? But they never give up. They never give up. Okay. Number 8, they use They use exercise and nutrition in conjunction. This is a big, big deal. You have, like, if you just exercise, you'll get stronger, you'll get in better shape, but you're not going to make the changes in your life that you're not going to change your body composition much. You're just not. You need to change the nutrition. They use them in conjunction. Okay. Number 9, they push mindset and recovery in conjunction. Okay. Elite level coaches know a little bit about sports psych. This is an area that hardly anybody knows even a little bit about. I listen to like high level people that are like, there's 3 layers of confidence and blah, blah, blah. No, there's not. Confidence is bullshit. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's something you use to escape what you're actually trying to be so that you don't feel like a failure. Confidence is absolute bullshit. There's no 3 layers to confidence. Hey, great coaches do push mindset though, and they push recovery because they know that the 2 of them are important aspects of the deal. You have to be able to drive the mindset because the mind is what is going to drive everything in your life anyway. Everything is happening up here. Even the experience that you guys are having right now, watching me, whether you're watching this right now or you're watching this, everything is happening. I'm experiencing me watching. I'm actually on my phone, so I'm watching me do this video, right? So I'm experiencing me. You're experiencing me. We're all having a similar experience because it's all the same content. But every one of us is basing it off of all the experiences and foundation that we've built up over the course of our life. Every one of us has a different experience here. Our mind drives the entire thing. Plus, the old adage to sports is that sports is 90% mental and 10% physical. However, my contest with that statement, in sports and in life and in school, everything, we focus way more than 90% of our time on the physical and way less than 10% of our time on the mental. And I think that needs to be brought back into conjunction. Or conjunction is probably the right word. That needs to be brought back into some sort of semblance, some sort of balance. We have to drive more of the mental aspect. So I think we're scratching the surface of the whole thing. So elite level coaches always have a strategy. They always have a strategy. Okay, there's no such thing as not having a strategy. Either you're either working towards something poor or you're working towards something good. Right? That's why the assessment is so important. That's why having knowledge is so important. That's why going to an expert is so important, because we know something about this. Number 11, great coaches care. And this is the one that everybody says. Everybody in my industry, they all go, we're different because we care. I'm like, dude, everybody cares. There's no way that you would do this if you didn't care. We're sending out letters right now for some different things, and I had to do a write-up on. Anyway, the average lifespan of somebody in this industry is 18 months. The average career of someone in the personal training and strength coach industry is 18 months. And of the ones that do last, of the ones that do have the necessary energy, enthusiasm, focus, attention to be great at customer service and the kind of that can push you to goals and actually be good at this and make this a profession, at some point between year 6 and year 8, they will have a mental breakdown of some sort. Almost all of them do. Almost everybody does this. Just the amount of attention that you have to give to people is just so outrageously high. So if you're going to somebody, you have to weigh this out. They have to care. They already do care. So one of the questions that I ask when people say this is like, oh yeah, how many books you read last year? How many books you read last year? And they'll be like, oh, I read some fitness magazines, or I read 1 or 2, and I'm like, then you don't care. You do not care. If somebody is not, if your strength coach that you're looking at is not a junkie of information, they do not care. I'm going to ask one of you guys later because I can kind of see who's been on the call. I see names pop every now and then, but I just saw the O face go across the screen. But okay, a few other things, just really quick ones. Those are kind of more on the person side, the character side. But also, if a place does punch cards, they don't care. Like, we know that people don't show up when they buy a punch card. It's just like a gift card. They never use it. And if they do, it doesn't create the kind of commitment necessary to make people really strive to their goals and get what they wanted. It doesn't create the commitment necessary to attain what they're actually going for. Punch cards don't work. Any place that that does use a punch card and doesn't know this, well, they're just uneducated. Any place that does know this and they still use a punch card, they're scumbags. Okay, so never go to a place that sells a punch card. Either they're uneducated or they're a scumbag, or they're stupid. Any place that is too good to be true, obviously. Any place that doesn't tell you what their prices are. I think this is ridiculous. I was doing this. I was kind of scrounging around on this online training thing, and they wouldn't tell me the price. Wouldn't tell me the price. Wouldn't tell me the price. So I called them up. Wouldn't tell me the price. I'm like, tell me the price. Like, what do you care? I'm going to learn about it at some point. So you're going to go through your whole pit. I'm going to have to sit, wait and listen to you do your whole thing on the phone, and then finally you're going to go, oh, well, I'm not paying that. Click. Tell me your price. Any place that doesn't do an assessment, any place that doesn't have a staff, any place that does short-term packages. You don't like this is a coach that doesn't care, a coach that doesn't believe in their product or their service. Short-term packages don't work because people need time to accumulate. Your body needs time to learn all these new moves. If you get like a grid gym, if we were to just do 2-week packages or we just do a 12-session package, it's like, well then. That sucks. You're never going to make the gains that you like. It makes this idea that, oh, if you come 12 times, you're going to learn everything that you need to know, and you're going to get all your goals in 12 sessions. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Any coach that's the too good to be true thing. Any coach that tells you something that is just too good to be true, like, hey, you've never worked out a day in your life. You've never were an athlete. You're 75 years old and you want to run a marathon. Yeah. There's coaches out there that will promise to be able to get you to that marathon shape. And that's sad. That's super sad. I would argue that any place that does per session pricing is scummy too. I think it's the same thing as the punch card. I would also say that anybody who's not willing to put out content, to not do some type of social media presence, that's not willing to do a blog, to do articles, to do, like, I don't care if they're not a good writer. I don't care if they're not a good speaker. I don't care if they're not willing, like if someone's not willing to do something like this, like something, I don't care what it is. Like if your coach doesn't have if you're looking at a personal trainer, they don't have some kind of social media presence. They don't have some kind of video. They don't have some kind of article. They don't have any content for you to digest. Well, maybe they don't know much about what they're talking about. Maybe they're too scared to write it. And if they are too scared to write it, do you really want to be around somebody that lacks the courage to get you where you want to go? That's not proximity to power. That's the opposite of proximity to power. You don't want to be around that person. And if they really did care, don't you think that they would want to put out information like this? I'm telling you right now, I don't like doing these videos. I say that on this all the time. I think I said that yesterday. I don't like doing these videos. They're uncomfortable. I don't like them. I don't even like exercising. It's uncomfortable. It makes me I don't know. I don't like sweating. I do it anyway because I care about you. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I care about me. I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this out because I want you to do well. But anyway, that's some of mine. Those are some of mine. They have to do an assessment. They have to take to detailed statistics. They have to be lifelong learners. They have to practice what they preach. They have to celebrate behavior over outcomes, even though outcomes are pretty cool sometimes. They have to know how to help you. This is a big, big deal. Knowledge matters. Elite coaches never give up on a client. Never, ever, ever do they ever give up on a client. They use nutrition symbiotically with, is that even a word? I don't know. With nutrition. We gotta have both. We gotta have that full spectrum. They also use mindset and they also use recovery. Those are the 4 areas of health: exercise, mindset, nutrition, recovery. You have to have all 4 together to make your life, your health, exactly what you want it to be. They have to have some kind of strategy. I've seen a lot of different strategies that I think are good, that work. I personally think that we take the best of the best of the best from everybody else that we've learned from. I didn't come up with them. I stole them. I brought them in so that you guys can benefit, so that the Grid Gym people can benefit from them. Great coaches care enough to do the things that they're uncomfortable doing. They care enough to confront somebody on a bad attitude. They care enough to read a book. They care enough to spend their own money and their own time going to events and doing things that they're not comfortable doing. They also hold people accountable through their business model, and they put out information that is good for the world to know. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that I went over today. Let's see. Only by 5 minutes. How about that? Anyway, thanks for being here, guys. I'm going to get off really fast because I got places to be. But thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Can't tell you how much this means to me when you guys actually come on and view this while this is happening. But and for all the likes. That was awesome. I'll see you soon.